Welcome, folks, to Mindset Release once again. I wanted to put this wee one in to the mix about how we come and meet others, or what level that we meet others at. So this is just an in-between episode, I'll call it. This is all about, of course, understanding your mind and how it works. And all of this, at the end of the day, is to benefit you, benefit your life, so that you have a happier, more peaceful, productive, fascinating life. We tend to disrupt or hold ourselves back from many aspects of life through our own conditioning, our masks and filters. So quite often what we are experiencing is not the reality that is actually going on, because it's been had to go through our own filters and our subconscious conditioning. But this little subject on how do you meet others? Do you meet them for the presentation that's put across, the personality that they have become, the image that they portray? This is how most people meet others, and depending on how that image comes across will depend on how we connect with them through our mind filters and masks and so on. When we meet somebody, we must remember, if we are on a journey of self-development, improvement, raising our frequency, becoming better souls every day, then we must remember that when we meet Joe from down at the shop, John from the petrol station, or our best mate, or even our partner, they are not the same soul that they were yesterday. We are not the same soul that we were yesterday. And yet we continue to have meetings and connect with people at the same level we did last week, last year. A simple example was some of my family only relating to me as a 19-year-old. It didn't matter that I had turned 30 or 40 or 50 and now 60, but they still held me back there in their minds. Now, if I reacted to that, I would also be held back at that time. But of course, I know that that is their judgment, their filters, their masks that they put on, and they actually have no interest at all in knowing who their brother was and is, and the journey, and who he is now. They just simply hold him back then, because that would mean that they would have to look at themselves, and of course, like most people, not willing to do that. It has to be somebody else's fault. So when we're meeting people, or when I'm meeting people, I meet their soul, their spirit. That's what stands in front of me. I'm not really interested in the image that you're portraying. Maybe you've got a gang patch and covered in tats and the dark glasses and all the rest of it, and trying to put across that intimidating image. I really don't care. I'm not intimidatable. The soul is who I speak to. The soul is who I recognize, and the soul is who I respond to. And when we do this, it has a unique effect of opening up that soul to their own soul, to their spirit. It's an incredible option, rather than meeting their image that they have put across. And remembering, as I say, that the image that people put across to you is the personality that they have become, which is the part of us that we can change. The soul or the spirit of who we are is what it is. So that is who I recognize. Now, when we meet someone and we have those filters on, we have those masks across, we have that judgment, we hold them back to the time when we last met them, or whenever the event occurred. And then likewise, if they have the same conditioning, the same masks on, they will hold us back to that time as well. And we'll all pretend and it's happy and we're jovial and we're kind. That's great. But underneath that, we're holding ourselves back through our judgments and our masks. So, and as we discussed in the last show, it was about when I meet somebody who has a business suit on and I have something against those, and they're all rich pricks, and how do they get their bloody money? I've got judgment going on, so I cannot speak to the soul. I cannot recognize the soul, and I'm not going to get a good message back from that soul. And like vice versa, when they do it to us, it's the same thing. So we can encourage others to live in this moment, not in any other moment, but this one, if we recognize their soul, if we accept them for who they are right here, now, in this moment. Not a week ago, not who they were 10 years ago, but this moment now, as a new soul, a new meeting. We don't have to meet them from yesterday. Meet them today, a new soul. The personality may still be the same, but the soul has moved and developed and changed, but the soul is the same, sorry. So what are we doing when we're holding people to ransom like this with masks and filters? So I ask you to go out into your day, and this time when you're meeting people, or maybe it's at a coffee shop, maybe it's you're putting gas in your car at the petrol station, maybe it's a business meeting or catching up with a friend, it doesn't matter. Meet them in this moment. Only this moment. It's fresh, it's new, it's the only moment that actually exists. And notice the change in how others respond to you. They will start to see and feel a different energy coming from you. Because when you meet the soul, your energy lights up. And also, when you recognize another's soul, you have woken up their energy. Their spirit starts to shine a bit brighter. And they start to feel more comfortable, more safe in your energy, because you're meeting them soul to soul, not in judgment. And everyone that we meet when we have a mask or a filter on, they feel it. They may not recognize it, but they feel it. And there is a retention, shall we say, of energy. So this little cast, I wanted to just get that message across of meeting people right now. And we talk a lot in non-resident set law about now time contracts, because everything that leaves your mouth is a contract. Everything you say is a contract, and if you cannot hold your word to what you say, then your contracts are worth nothing. But we go on about now time contracts, and quite often we're looking at the legal situation here now, of course, with non-resident set law. You're still living on contracts that you agreed to various times in the past. You need to be clearing those contracts if you'd like to move forward, and then moving on with now time contracts only. You need to renegotiate contracts, and this can be verbal. It doesn't need to be in paper or writing or documents, because I don't use documents or paper writing at all if I can help it, unless it benefits me and my life and those I care about. However, this is the joy of non-resident set law. We can step in and out of any jurisdiction that we choose at the time. Of course, the main rule being remaining honourable at all times. It must be honourable. And it's very simple. When you're living from heart, when you're living from that deep inner knowing that you are part of a bigger picture, you are part of something bigger. We are one. And I quite often quote things from the Law of One book. Brilliant. We are all one. When I meet somebody who can upset me, which is incredibly rare, then there is a teacher standing there in front of me. So I look at things quite a lot differently than most people, and this changes how other people treat me and how they come across, at what they share. How deeply do they share or not? It all depends on how I approach the situation myself. It's not about how they are, as we always think, oh, well, it's their problem, they've got this issue. Well, now I have that issue because I am controlling my life based upon the issue someone else has. Life only exists in the one moment. There is only one moment. Man's pathetic way of trying to keep track of these moments. And of course the system's way of keeping you in stress, keeping you in fear of the past, locked into that, and also fear of the past happening again, and then that projects into the future. So very few people are actually living here and now. None of that's going to help us. You're living in this moment, then you can take all advantage of this moment. You won't miss anything in this moment. But if you're having a conversation and you're still wrapped up in the past or fearing the future or what might be, you're not present, so you're going to miss out on life in that moment. So meet people here and now, folks. Meet them soul to soul. So just a little short message for this one at the moment, before I move on to getting the next podcast going, which is all about the child-adult state, which rolls off the back of this one, because most of the time we are in child mode. Majority of our life we are in child mode. and we need to step up to the adult state. We think we're adults, and we would like to think of that. Yes, we're grown up and we're adult, and yet legally and morally and internally, you're still a child. And this is what we're going to explore in the next upcoming podcast. So please join the Facebook page, Mindset Release. Any questions that you may have, please pop them in there, and I can attend to them in coming podcasts. So have an incredible day, folks, and we will see you on the upcoming.